Hey guys, my name is Haley and today I'm going to be filming a sort of like chat video, which I don't normally film on this channel, but we're doing all kinds of things I don't normally do on this channel because we're trying to switch things up a little bit here. I'm going to film a video about how audiobooks have changed my reading habits, which is what I think I'm going to title this. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but if you've been keeping up with my wrap-ups at all this year, you'll know that I've been reading a million times more audiobooks since getting into audiobooks, but especially this year because I never have physical books to hold up. And there's a reason for that, so I just kind of wanted to sit here and chat about it. Let me know your thoughts on audiobooks down below. Please try and be respectful because I know a lot of people have an issue with audiobooks being called reading, and we're going to get into that in this video. So, first off, obvious thing, I've read probably half of the books that I've read this year, if not like 3/4 of the books that I've read this year were audiobooks. And the reason for that being, one, I discovered that my libraries, I have 2 libraries that I have library cards to, and they have really, really good audiobook selection. And as someone who doesn't read ebooks and doesn't really get to go to the like physical library very often, audiobooks are the easiest way for me to get a book and read it without having to buy it. I also find them really, really helpful when it comes to like multitasking, as in like I need to pick things up around my room, I need to reorganize a bookshelf, I need to like do laundry. It's so easy to just put an audiobook on and have me listening to it while I'm doing other things, and that way time that I normally wouldn't have been reading is suddenly become a reading time for me, especially like at work. If you don't know, I'm a nanny and I work with like a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, and obviously at that age they take naps. So at one of the houses the baby like sleeps with like white noise or like a TV in the background, so like reading a physical book isn't really an option for me there because I'll be distracted because I don't normally like read with noise in the background. I normally read in silence. So it was easier for me to put headphones in and listen to an audiobook while I wait for the baby to wake up, which is normally like an hour to 2 hours. So I get a lot of reading done that way, when otherwise, like before, I would just not be reading at work most likely. Basically, what they've done in my experience is that they're giving me more opportunities not only to listen to books that I wouldn't have bought in the first place because I'm not sure if I would like it. Also, like in my current lifestyle, it's easier for me to listen to an audiobook and finish it in a day than it is for me to sit down for like 3 or 4 hours and read a book physically. And to get into the controversy of that, I know people don't like to call audiobooking reading because you're not doing the act of reading like with your eyes to a book, which for one, for people who can't physically read, whether it's for like they can't see well enough or they have a really bad headache. Oh, that's another time that I actually really listen to audiobooks a lot. If I have a really bad headache or my eyes are so tired that I can't like physically read words on a page. So there are people who like have chronic migraines or headaches or something, in which case an audiobook is like the only way they're getting reading done. So I do think it's kind of, what's the word? I want to say ableist is the word that I'm trying to think of, and the fact that there are people who can't read physically, so saying that they're not reading just because they're not holding a book and looking at words on a page, I feel like is really rude. And like I also get the side of people who don't like listening to audiobooks or have a hard time like getting along with narrators. Most of the time I don't have an issue like with a narrator unless they're really bad, and I've only come across a couple of instances where I thought they were really bad and like couldn't listen to the audiobook and would prefer to read it physically. But the majority of the time I think narrators are fine. I don't know if that's because I listen to narrators on 2 times speed, so like I always speed it up to listen to things. I even do that with BookTube now, to be completely honest, just because I've subscribed to so many people. Like with any YouTube video that I can speed up, I'll probably listen to it at least 1.5 speed, just because it helps me keep up with everything that's going on. Like that's the only way I kept up with Vlogmas videos last year. So I do get the idea and the controversy of people considering it not reading, but also just goes back to the whole people making reading a competition, which I really don't like. Like, it doesn't matter how many books you read in a month. as long as you're reading and enjoying what you're reading. I don't get the whole, oh, I read more books than you competition that sometimes happens on BookTube and like the Twitterverse of BookTube, and it just rubs me the wrong way. And it just comes down to like, it's not reading if you're not the one physically reading it, but you're still consuming the story. Like for me, as an audio listener, like auditory listener in general, like with music, for example, I learn music or lyrics or a tune just by listening to it rather than me trying to figure it out reading from like a page. And I was always like this in like choir or musicals or community theater or whatever. I learn better by hearing than I do by like trying to read something or like sound it out from a page, which is actually happening with me right now because I'm trying to learn Korean, and I keep complaining to Kate that I need to like hear them speak in order to like, for it to make sense in my head. So I feel like in my case, audiobooks are a way easier way for me to like actually retain information or like retain a story. Not to say that I don't remember stories if I read them physically, because I definitely do, but I feel like with audiobooks, it almost makes more sense for someone who's an auditory listener to listen to a story than it does to read it physically if you're going to remember it better, because that's kind of the point of stories, is that you want to read a book that you're going to remember for a long time and hope that it becomes your favorite. And then to the real point of this video that I wanted to talk about is having this audio library available through Overdrive through 2 of my libraries in this area that I'm like a part of has been so helpful with me not buying 5 million books just because, oh, I might want to read that, so I'll buy it for 40 cents from the thrift store, and then I end up with this giant unhaul pile that I have standing in front of me that I can't get rid of, or like it's taking me a long time to get rid of or sell them or take them to little free libraries. And I don't know if you've noticed, because I haven't done any book hauls on this channel except for the one that I did at the beginning of the year, and there's a reason for that, and that's because I haven't bought a book since January. Like, that's not to say that I'm gonna stop buying books, but I've definitely gotten more into the habit of listening to an audio, and if I absolutely love the book, then I will buy it physically, or I'll put it on a wish list to buy at one point during the year, rather than buying it immediately and then having books pile up, or rather than buying a book that I'm not sure if I'm gonna like, I'll listen to it on audio, and if it's just like a 3.5 star, I'll just like choose not to buy it. And as someone who like has all their stuff in like one little room, that makes a huge difference, because then I don't have a giant unhaul pile. Even though I love filming unhauls, I don't love the books sitting here like they have been for like the last year. Basically what I'm trying to say is I don't think that audiobooks should not count as reading, because it makes a huge difference for people who, 1, don't have the funds to buy books, 2, can't read physically, 3, have a million other things to do and need a way to multitask in order to get a lot of reading done. All those are like perfect examples of why I really like that audiobooks have become more prevalent in like the BookTube area sphere. But I'm also so annoyed with all the drama surrounding it of people saying it's not reading, because it's the same concept as reading. So I don't understand the argument of people saying that it's not. Especially, like I said, with the whole auditory listening thing, I think that it's more helpful. So those are my thoughts on audiobooks and why I haven't been buying books, why I've been reading so many audiobooks. So I hope that made sense. I hope it was more coherent than I feel like it was. We'll see in editing, but leave your comments down below about your opinion on audiobooks. Again, try to be respectful. I know a lot of people have very like extreme feelings about this, but what can you do? But thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys next time.